And the music from the 2000s has stagnated to the present, and that's what we have to look forward to on a societal level for social media. Funnily enough, Attila. Oh my god, another one. We're never going to finish this game. Okay. So, music production has emerged from the centralization of production, thanks in part, actually, to the same streaming sites that we are currently talking a little bit of shit about. Uh, Also, Geodoodle, thank you so much for the follow. You are wonderful and welcome to the Wholesome Order. Music used to be run from the 70s up until 2015-ish exclusively by large companies. You know DMCA, the law that stops us from playing the music that we want on, in bars and on the radio and on streams and in YouTube videos. Big, massive publishing companies. You got your Paramounts, you got your Sonys, you got your all the fucking Warner Bros. Every single one of them, right? All these companies, and we are heading into a fantastic era technologically, where the cassette used to be what indie artists would use to get fame, right? That's how Metallica got started. People would record Metallica songs onto cassettes and spread them far and wide through cassette shops in the 80s, right? That's how that happened. But now everything's an MP3, now everything's an MP4, now everything exists as a digital product. It's not physical anymore. Do you know what the digital approximation of a physical product is? The digital approximation of a physical product. Come on, guys. Come on. Give it to me, chat. You know what I'm talking about. CDs? No. A digital. It's not physical. But it is the closest thing, not Spotify. Spotify is a publishing platform. Spotify can remove NFTs. There we go. It's NFTs, baby. It is digitally certified ownership of songs, meaning that if Spotify, for example, would establish a blockchain that could troll the internet for any instance of, let's say, a Taylor Swift song being played live on stream on a YouTube channel, everything like that, it would circle back as views on Spotify, which would result in money for Taylor Swift. And why do I use Taylor Swift as an example? I mean, this is like 5 years, maybe 10 years in the future when we actually figure this whole thing out. Why do I use Taylor Swift as an example? Because she went through a 3.5 year long legal battle to get the rights back to her music from the studio that made a 16-year-old country pop singer sign over her intellectual property for the fattest paycheck that girl has ever seen. It's a tale as old as the music industry, right? She fought for 3.5 years to get the intellectual IP back for her music. Now she got the rights back to her music, but not to the recordings. The first 4 Taylor Swift albums are still owned by the original studio that, screwed her over in an epic way. So what did Taylor Swift do? She re-recorded all of it, walked out with middle fingers high, and sent a signal that for the large players, you don't really need a studio anymore. The studio definitely needs you. That has always been the case, but there was no way to try and enforce this and try to play this, right? And the music industry is a great metaphor for where we are in terms of content creation, in terms of YouTube, in terms of streaming, right? Because during the 90s and the 2000s, the music industry became excessively centralized, especially when we started to get MP3 files as the main source of musical distribution. That gave the studios all the power, which resulted after Napster made it clear that digital file sharing made it possible for everybody to get everything at any point, the music studios made the DMCA set of laws that sets the precedent for what can and can't be done with music in the digital space, which led to 25 absolutely terrible years for the music industry, where you just had to pray as a musician that you would get discovered by a massive studio, because otherwise your music would never get distributed, it would never get produced, it would never get sold. But we are at a wonderful, wonderful, fantastic point where you can literally create music, professional sounding music, with a tiny little investment upfront for recording gear. Way less than at any other point in history, which is why we see an insane surge in indie artists that are able to reach unprecedented levels of fame before even being approached by a studio. The first people to do this were the new age of music. The new age of music being completely electronic music. People who just literally sat with a mixing program on their computer and were able to make professional sounding music by making, by making techno, by making dubstep, by making trance, by making hardstyle, jump style, you name it, deadmau5, everything like that, right? And now the pendulum has swung the other way because of platforms like Spotify. You can register, and honestly, also SoundCloud. You can register your music and own it as a creator on Spotify, as a creator on SoundCloud, shit, even on YouTube. And you can create your own studio, repping your own brand, your own music, and basically create your own music company as a band. A lot of metal artists do this. A lot of techno artists do this. And every single indie artist that you love do this, right? But content creation is not quite there yet. Content creation are at the cusp of the dystopian 90s part of music. And we just got to get through that. But on the good side, we have gone through the entirety of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s as content creators in the span of 10 years. So, if we go by the same rate of decay or same rate of progression that we've been doing so far, in about 5 years, maybe we're able to see a decentralized approach to streaming and YouTube and video and whatever, right? We will most likely get there. We just need to wade through some quagmires and woods and jungles and deserts of insane corporate greed before the technology and the services that we as individual creators need and deserve are properly in play. Yes. Was that good? Did that make sense? And before you guys say the movie industry and the TV show industry, that is never going to happen. That's not going to be decentralized. Just because the amount of production value that you need to put into a proper TV show or a proper movie is just way too much. Rooster Teeth was able to do it with animation, but you are still in need of a publishing platform for that sort of thing. We have seen, signs of the TV show and movie industry being decentralized on a creator level, but not at the rate that you truly need in order to escape the clutches of the large studios, basically. Not quite there yet. That's gonna take a lot of time. Yeah. See you later, Dutch. All right, can we play some games now? That was good. I've had these thoughts in my head for a while, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. That's the dystopian shit I write about in my sci-fi universe, among other things. I mean, yes, it's just not as dystopian. It still gives people the opportunity to create a living from their art, but we are approaching a time where you can individually create from your art without having some asshole in a suit, you know, making you sign a paper that releases all your intellectual property onto them for, a fat ass paycheck, right?